I feel like I'm in an alternate universe. What is going on? It's like I just walked into a conversation where one guy is saying Michael Jordan is the best player ever, and the other guy is disagreeing, and he's saying, sorry, no, it's Chuck Nevitt. Do you mean the guy that averaged 1.6 points per game for his entire career? Really? And as I prepare myself for self-immolation, I slowly realize that everyone around me is starting to agree. Yes, it's Chuck Nevitt. Charles is the guy. Big Chuckles is the man. And if you don't think so too, you just don't get it. This is the situation we're in. For some completely unknown reason, people are starting to praise Andrew Cuomo as if he's doing a good job. And it's inexplicable. Look at this media coverage. Fauci is America's most prominent infectious disease expert. And yet he's sharing a headline with Andrew Cuomo. How is he in a headline with him as if they're equals? How about this one? How coronavirus made Andrew Cuomo America's governor? Yeah, how? Or how Andrew Cuomo became a media darling? Yeah, how? Thank God for Andrew Cuomo? Is this a CNN headline? I'm not even sure God wants to take responsibility for this one. Andrew Cuomo truly rising to the challenge? Huh? He is? Really? Of course, it all leads back to this. Joe Biden replaced by Andrew Cuomo? Not so far-fetched. Really? Seriously? I think I understand why people consider Joe Biden to be awful. But why do they suddenly think Andrew Cuomo is good? It was only back in 2018 where he was getting headlines like this. Andrew Cuomo is America's problem now. Not exactly positive press. But now he's some American hero because of his performance in the coronavirus crisis. How? What? In this universe, Chuck Nevitt is the best basketball player in history too, isn't he? I know where I am now. I'm in a totally different universe. Before this gets out of hand, let's set the record straight. Andrew Cuomo is awful. He's been horrible in this crisis, not just mediocre, not kind of bad, horrible. His first response to the coronavirus was a ridiculous stunt where he said he was going to make cheap hand sanitizer with prison labor.
We are introducing New York State Clean hand sanitizer made conveniently by the state of New York. This is a superior product to products now on the market. The World Health Organization, CDC, all those people suggest 60% alcohol content. Purell, competitor to New York State Clean, 70% alcohol. This is 75% alcohol. It also comes in a variety of sizes. It has a very nice floral bouquet. A little, I detect the lilac, hydrangea, tulips. What does it smell like to you?
Number one, this is an incredibly dumb idea. I mean, lilacs? Terrible flower for a scent and hand sanitizer. And every thinking American knows it. I'll also note that the government just creating competition for private business is not a good idea. Not at all. Also, having people smell your hands in the middle of the coronavirus crisis is also not a good idea. Another one, even though it would do nothing to help the problem at all, Andrew Cuomo was lying the entire time. Turns out that Cuomo's chain gang wasn't actually making hand sanitizer at all. An outside vendor was making it, and the inmates were just bottling and labeling it. So not only did he lied about something that wouldn't be helpful if it was true. Good start. To show his leadership, remember, of course, when New York Mayor Bill de Blasio came out and said this.
Not only in New York, but in many parts of the country, we have to go to a shelter-in-place model.
Really? Okay. Well, what was Cuomo's response? To publicly reprimand Bill de Blasio, which is something I'd almost always cheer on, like I'm at a basketball game in 1984 cheering on Chuck Nevitt. But this time, de Blasio was actually right.
There's not going to be any quarantine. where we contain people within an area, or we block people from an area. Individual mobility is what we're all about. There's not going to be any "you must stay in your house" rule.
Now, this all happened on March 17th. 3 days later, on March 20th, Cuomo had instituted a stay-in-your-house rule. The biggest decision he's had to make in the entire crisis, he made and then publicly reversed himself in 3 days. That is leadership. We hear what a great communicator Andrew Cuomo is. Really? Because I think both Cuomos suck.
The leader who knows the reality better than any other right now, at least in New York, is the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, of course, my brother. Thank you for coming back to the show.
Mom told me I had to. The only thing that happened here is the lens changed. I'm doing what I do, and I've been doing it the same way. And I look the same as I've always looked. Which
To be
is better
fair,
than the way you look.
the reason,
but
Pop,
that's
so I'll get to
irrelevant.
that. I'll get to that. One, I'm hearing your fingernails like scratch on something like you're nervous. I know you're busy. There's always time to cut your fingernails and call your mom. Because you know that what people are saying about how you look really can't be accurate. So it must be hard for you to make sense of what is real and what is true now. I feel for you.
La gelosia. Tu sei la
No.
gelosia. You are jealous,
Always
my
straight,
brother.
right
You are
across the
jealous.
plate. Straight across the plate.
My little brother.
Okay.
Don't worry, there's still time, there's hope for you. One day
Listen.
you can grow up to be like me.
I've tried to be like you my whole life.
Isn't that hilarious? So adorable. Sure, thousands of people are in danger of death from a killer virus, but you guys have your cute little sibling moment on the TV. Answer me this. How does Chris Cuomo objectively cover Andrew? Remember, President Trump is constantly bashed for doing interviews with friendly media. You think Andrew is getting a tough question from Chris? I doubt it. This is CNN, apparently. And speaking of Trump, he rightly has been criticized for his comments that were incredibly flippant about this threat back in late January and early February. For example, when he said, "What is the bottom line? What does this mean? People are reacting like it's the Ebola virus." This is not the Ebola virus. This hysteria that you see, this fear that you see, the panic that you see, it's unwarranted. Oh, wait, that was not Donald Trump? Okay, I'm sorry. That was actually America's governor, Andrew Cuomo.
What is the bottom line? What does this mean? People are reacting like this is the Ebola virus. This is not the Ebola virus. This hysteria that you see, this fear that you see, the panic that you see is unwarranted.
And that wasn't even January or even February. That was 2 weeks ago, in mid-March. He's still saying it's a hysterical panic in mid-freaking March. And while he was blowing off the threat completely, he was also joking with reporters and showing off the worst Irish accent in generations.
I'm sorry, Bernadette Hogan.
Governor, what kind of authority do you
I knew that one was going to strike home.
So, what kind of authority do you have
Oi.
on March 17th to close
Yes.
down the New York City St. Patrick's
Well, I'm
Day parade?
authorized, by St. Patrick. That's who? Oh, yes. I have the highest authorization, sure.
I'll make something perfectly clear. I actually now actively hate Ireland because of Andrew Cuomo. Sorry that had to happen. All the supposed leadership has come together to this one indisputable fact. Andrew Cuomo is in charge of the worst COVID-19 breakout in the entire world this side of Italy and Wuhan itself. He acted slowly, incorrectly, and treated it like a joke well into this month. And now his constituents are paying a really, really, really heavy price. Truth is, Andrew Cuomo only has two things working for him. Number one, Bill de Blasio. Anyone looks good next to Bill de Blasio. Cuomo is utilizing the ugly friend at the bar technique. The decent-looking girl who brings her ugly friend to the bar to make her look better in comparison. De Blasio is the ugly girl, and the also quite homely Andrew Cuomo is bringing her along as a tag-along. Outshining Bill de Blasio is not an accomplishment. Just after de Blasio said no one could go to the gym, where'd you find him? Well, of course, obviously, at the gym right before the deadline. Then de Blasio had to make the awkward confession and explanation.
I knew in advance that it was a very socially distanced situation. There was almost no one there. I had heard that information prior. I suspected that we were all going to be about to close them down, and this would be the last chance to get some exercise. I got no exercise whatsoever over the weekend. I was in this building a huge percentage of the time. I need exercise to be able to stay healthy and make decisions. I'm going to figure out some new way to do it going forward. I did not for a moment think there was anything problematic because I knew the dynamics. And again, I have to stay healthy so I can make the decisions for the people of this city.
Like he's like, Cuomo looks good next to de Blasio, sure. You know who else does? Chuck Nevitt. I would much rather have Chuck Nevitt with no governmental experience whatsoever running my state than either one of these two New York nightmares. The other thing Cuomo has going on for him is Democratic desperation. We all like to point and laugh and say how Democrats are so stupid for picking Joe Biden as their nominee. And that's true, and it can't be overstated. But the truth is, they know it. They know they are about to enter a general election with a man who might interrupt himself discussing the situation in Syria with an extended rant about pancakes. They know they're in trouble. In Cuomo, they see someone who can at least fake it well occasionally. And their standards are so low, they're looking for a miracle. That's probably a good instinct, but it does not change the facts. Andrew Cuomo has overseen one of the worst disasters in American history that is still unfolding in front of our eyes. He acted late, he acted indecisively, and he acted recklessly. He's put the lives of New Yorkers in serious danger with his constant mishaps and mismanagement. And last but not least, he's ruined the entire country of Ireland for all of us.